This is 1833. This is Macleay's, very well-known artist, Snapped Apple Night, which is often the name for what we would now call Halloween, or a time close by. I mean, again, we have Halloween on the 31st. And this is Snapped Apple Night in Ireland, and again, here they are bobbing for apples, there they are dancing, and here they are doing games. You would put nuts in the fire, and if the nuts exploded and came out, this would tell you about who you were going to marry, all kinds of sort of predictive games. And it's on the basis of these predictive games, that sort of late 19th century folklorists, who were an amazingly naive bunch, sort of said, these are ancient, you know, the remnants of sacrifice. How do you go from an acorn to a sacrifice? But in their head you did. In their head you did. And part of the reason was their view of, I mean, they're very conscious of the fact that this rural world was changing. And so their perception of the rural world was both romantic and very patriarchal. And not just male patriarchal, very hierarchical, in that they felt that the world was moving to a rational state, where superstition would disappear, and for some of them, religion would disappear as well. Boy, were they wrong. And therefore, they tended to look at the peasant rural world as somehow not being able to understand itself, and needing the intellectuals to come along and say, aha, this is an ancient custom, this is this is that. They also saw the rural world as basically disappearing. For them, it was still the myth of progress. For them, progress, reason, and the disappearance of religion and superstition were inevitable. And they were the ones in charge of explaining how this was happening. So, peasant world represented ancient. City world represented now. And they would blithely sort of say things like, well, there's no folklore in the city. And this is just absolutely not the case. And it's just about here, 1833, that you began to have this kind of analysis of these customs. And they produced reams and reams. It's the second most revenue-generating festival in America after Christmas. It's enormous. We'll see some of the stuff that you buy for Halloween and decorate your house for Halloween. It's huge, billions. It's worth billions. Absolutely billions. And yes, it is. It's very much something that was exported to America with Northern English, Scottish, and Irish immigrants, and has been re-exported basically to the rest of the world. But the pumpkin is an American vegetable. I mean, it was one of these things that was sort of, you know, brought in potatoes, pumpkins, squashes, things like that. And of course, it's a lot easier to carve than the Swedes. But pumpkin which is basically celebrated. Again, it varies slightly. Sometimes it is the 31st, the eve of Hallowmass, the eve of the 1st of November, which is All Saints. Sometimes, in some places, it's celebrated on All Souls, which is the 2nd of November. So again, the date, the Halloween date, is a much more movable feast than one thinks of initially. This is Todos Santos. This is the Day of the Dead. This is the 1st of November, which is celebrated in very strongly, a very important festival, all throughout the Mediterranean. But particularly Todos Santos, this particular Todos Santos, is the Mexican version that the Spaniards brought with them, which was nativized in Mexico.